If you've ever asked why financial institutions send several mails on KYC and account updates, then you're the reason we did this episode. This is DepSam Info, and my name is Amaka Samuel Okon. Please stay tuned. Today, we have a seasoned banker with 23 years experience. She'll be talking to us on KYC, account updates, the importance, and, why we should always update our details in the bank. She's Mrs. Carol Anyebunam. You're welcome, ma'am.
Thank you so much. It's nice to be here.
Thank you for making our time, to, come to the studio. We appreciate you. Okay, ma'am. Please tell us about this KYC thing. Why is it important? Why, the banks and other financial institutions keep sending KYC, account updates, and the likes?
Okay. Firstly, KYC is an acronym for Know Your Customer. So that is what has been shortened to KYC. Now, the importance of KYC. What is this KYC all about? KYC enables the bank validate the identity of the said individual who is the customer in this, who I would refer to as the customer in this case. It also helps us to ascertain the source of funds of that customer because, there's a lot of money laundering activities going on and terrorism financing and all that. So we need to know the source of funds of the customer. And then we also need to know what the customer is into, what the customer's business is all about. And also, lastly, it's in line with international best practices where it is mandatory that all this information must be provided whenever requested.
So what are the required KYC documents?
Okay, some of the documents that we refer to as KYC documents are a proof of your ID, meaning a proof of your identity, who you are, and it could be either your international driver's license, it could be your international passport, it could be your voter's card, it could be any government recognized
driving license.
Yes, any government
NIN.
identify. What's it called? Any government validated ID is what we refer. We refer it as proof of address. Now, the next thing is proof of your residence. Where do you live? Now, it could be your utility, any of your utility bills, maybe NEPA, water, phone bill, anything. It's amazing because some people always just say NEPA bill. It's not just about NEPA bill. It's utility bill. And a NEPA bill is just one of several utility bills that you could present. All right? And then any other information as required by the bank, because various banks also, maybe for their own safety or comfort, they always also demand other documents that they feel that may be relevant. Your NIN is also accepted as a proof of ID.
Oh, really? Okay, that's
Yes.
the slip. The
The slip,
NIN.
yes,
Okay,
the slip
yes.
is also acceptable ID.
Well, most of all these documents are provided when they are opening the account. So why do customers still receive mails, KYC, account update? Because these documents you just listed, definitely you require them to also open accounts.
Definitely.
So in 5 years, in 10 years, why am I still receiving those mails if I'm one of the customers? Why are you still sending me mails? You have this thing. Why are you asking for it again? So those questions, I'm sure you get to receive them.
Yes, and they're very valid questions. Mind you that most of these, for instance, your proof of identification, in Nigeria today, the validity period of your international passport is 5 or 10 years. 10 years is just coming up. It's just newly introduced.
Yes.
Most people just have the regular 5
5
years.
years,
So it
true.
means that after 5 years is expired. It means that we no longer have any proof of your identification. That is why we have to ask you to send us an updated version. Same also applies to the driver's license. The validity is between 3 and 5 years. After 5 years maximum, it also expires. So if we are relying only on what you had submitted at the beginning, then we would not be KYC compliant. So we stand a risk of being slammed by the regulators. So it's very important that's why you will get a message from time to time to say, please come and do your KYC, update your information with the bank. And also, sometimes remember that the address you used in opening the account, you may have moved from that particular location.
True.
You may have changed location. So we would require, knowing your customer means knowing everything about your customer. It means that we would need to know exactly where your current location is, not where you were at the point of account opening. So that is the reason why from time to time you would get the mails like that asking you to come and update your information with the bank.
Oh, yeah, because someone like me, I've changed address like how many times? So as I change, you have to update and all that. So are you
That's
saying,
correct.
since you want to know everything, if someone gets married, my phone gets stolen, and, different things, I change address like you just mentioned, I'm supposed to notify the bank? Or look, let's say the married one, like the women now, when they get married, are they expected to come and change, update their account in the bank, or only when they have a banking transaction? What do you advise?
It is very important that once there's any change in status that you notify your bank. Take, for instance, your phone number. Your phone got stolen, and we see that happening daily. I mean, this is Nigeria. Sometimes pickpockets take people's phone, people drop it up somewhere. So it's important because remember that phone number is what is registered with the bank.
Yeah.
And now it's
It's on
possible
your
that
account and all those.
yes, and it's linked to your account. So for instance, with what we call USSD, somebody else who has taken over that particular phone number could have access to your account. So it's important. So you may say, oh, it doesn't matter, let me buy another phone and continue to use it. It's very risky. You stand a risk of losing your funds in the bank, even though you say, oh, I never did that transaction. The bank will not be liable if there's a change in phone number and the bank was not informed. So it's important that you update us as soon as any of this information changes. Even the same for getting married. Once you have a change of name, it's also important that you update us. We see cases where someone opened the account in their maiden name, all right, and now they are married. The identification, once the identification where they initially opened the account with expires, they are most likely renewing their married name. You can now see that there will be a name mismatch, meaning your maiden name and your current name would not align. It means that you are not KYC compliant. So it's also very important that once there's a change in any status, be it marital, be it your phone, your address, it's very important for your own safety to notify the bank.
That means even your BVN and your NIN too, you have to update the name across board.
You must to ensure. Yes, there mustn't be a mismatch. I mean, for people who are recently getting their international passports, you see that NIN is now a requirement to obtain your international passport. And once the name on your NIN and the name you're applying for the passport do not match, then you would not be issued an international passport. So it is that serious. And that's why we always encourage our customers, don't wait until you get into a situation where you end up being frustrated. Just, be proactive enough to just walk into the bank. It doesn't take time. And you don't have to stay there for too long. You can just fill up some of the forms and then submit, and rest assured the bank will do the needful.
The way you have good customers, I'm sure you have some funny customers. When I give you a bill to either update my account, because you've been disturbing me, update account, update, I give you a bill. How do you, or I come to even open an account fresh, you want a bill, I've given you a bill. How do you confirm, and you want an ID, I've given you an ID. How do you confirm that the bill I've given you is mine, or I live there, or the documents I'm giving you as an ID is valid? Do you just take them, or there are ways the banks can verify if I actually live in this address, or I just picked up something from the floor and brought it to the bank, or an ID? How do you check and, take off, let me say, the bad boys and girls? Is there a way to confirm if they are valid?
Okay, that's a very, very good question. And rest assured, the bank does a lot of things back end that the customer is not aware of. So for ID, for instance, the bank has, for the international passport, the NIN, the driver's license, the bank has access to the portals of these organizations. So once you submit those documents, the bank goes online to those portals. the portal, either the international passport portal, the driver's license portal, the NIN portal, and imputes the details of what you have submitted. Once it pops up, then it is validated. Once it doesn't pop up, it means that what you have submitted is fake and it would not be acceptable. We've seen cases where, in those days, it's very easy to just go around the corner and get a driver's license. People will just get anything and bring to the bank. Those days are over. Yeah, they call them Oluwole driver's license and passport. Those days are over. Once you bring it to the bank, rest assured we have ways we can validate this information to be sure that they're authentic. Now, regarding address where you live, in times, things are changing, all right, and everything is dynamic. Change is constant. In days back, the bank would always insist that the utility bill you are providing will be in your name. And we know that that is not realistic, okay? So we have people who live in residences where the bill is paid either by the landlord, the owner of the house, and then they split the bill across board. So it is not humanly possible that your name will be on that bill. So what do? There's something we call address verification. So we accept that bill from you. Now we will go. It is responsibility of the bank to visit that address where you have provided, even though it's not in your name. We will visit that address and ask around, verify that you actually live there, even though it's not your name there. Now, these days, some banks outsource that because, it can be quite challenging for an officer in the bank to begin to go around. For instance, take a state like Lagos that is very wide and, sometimes there's some very confusing places. So, yeah. So some banks outsource that. So they give it to an outsourcing company. They are responsible for going to that address where you have forwarded us the bill to confirm that you live there. We will speak to your neighbors. We will speak to people around there. Ask this person, does this person live here? And once they confirm that will be accepted, even though that bill was not in your name.
But won't you let me know before coming to my house to check or to confirm anything?
I don't have to let you know. That's if you provided that address as your address, I take it that you live there. So it's my responsibility.
So I won't even know when the bank is coming.
No, you won't know, because otherwise, if it's someone who doesn't live there, the person can, on the day the bank official is going there, the person can go and plant himself there to show that he or she lives there. So we will not tell you when we're coming. We will pay you a surprise visit to ensure that the information that you have provided to us is accurate. Integrity is is taken very seriously in the bank. You must say and be who you say you are. So that's a test of your character. That is why we do that.
Oh, nice. That's a very good one. So does this documentation requirement, KYC and account update things, account opening, does it apply to the no face-to-face customers? That is the customers that live abroad. I'm sure you have customers too that are also based abroad.
That's correct.
This documentation and requirement, does it apply to them, or is just the customers that walk into the bank?
Okay, so for customers that live abroad, they are classified as high-risk customers because they are non-face-to-face customers. You're not seeing them. So, and we all know what happens across the internet because communication is mostly via the internet, either via email or phone calls, video calls. So, we classify them as high risk. Now, how do we confirm the identity? For the identity, those instruments will also apply. They're also applicable to them. And the same way we will verify on those portals is also the same way we'll verify their IDs. Now, for the proof of address, where they live, where they say they are, frankly speaking, we don't have much problem with people who live abroad because, they are not as, for lack of a better word to use, as corrupt as people are in Nigeria. So they hardly we provide fake documents. However, there's something we call a notary public. There are many across, different countries in the world. So those notary public will serve as our third party, like our eye in the bank. So what the notary public does is that the customer abroad is expected to visit one. The notary public will confirm that the identity, the person that they are seeing in front of them is actually the customer. And they also have websites where they can validate the addresses that, on the utility bills they have provided. And so once that is ascertained, what the notary public does is stamp those documents. They usually have numbers. So we also need to be sure that the notary publics are also
wants to stamp anything that is, that is fraudulent, because his number and his code is tied to
Their
it.
commission numbers are there. So if they validate wrongly, they stand a risk of losing their license. And I'm sure nobody wants to lose their license because of something as flimsy as that. So once the notary public confirms that the information is correct, we accept it. So that gives us some sort of comfort that the person that is speaking to us from abroad is actually the person. These days now, we've also gone a step further. We have video calls now. So once they submit their documentation, you can see their faces on the passport. So when we put across a video call to them, thank God for technology. Things are changing. 20 years ago, we didn't have this.
To do that, yes.
Yeah, but now, for additional comfort, we can do a video call. So once we see the face of the person talking to us and it matches what also has been provided, then we're good to go. So those are the enhancements that have been done in recent times.
A lot is actually happening, that customers don't even get to know.
That's correct.
Okay, for let's say joint accounts or accounts with multiple signatories, who's supposed to do the KYC and provide all these documents? The main account holder or everybody?
Basically everybody. Everybody that is on that account, be you a director, even though you are not a signatory, as a director of that, if it's a corporate company, all right, a corporate account, we would expect that all the directors of that company will provide the same information, their BVN, NIN, and their IDs, and all that. We must receive them because we want to know the financiers of that company. Remember that I said that KYC is knowing all about the customer. Everything is entirely about that customer. So, and not about the customer, the customer's business. So we have KYC. We also have KYB. So KYB is know your business. KYCB, actually. Know your customer's business. So it might seem like, the bank is prognosing into a lot of things. We're knowing too much. We need to cover our backs also because we stand risk of, being slammed, sanctioned and slammed with very heavy fines from our regulator, the Central Bank of Nigeria. And so it is very important that everything that we're doing, we're sure of it. Otherwise, and sometimes, some of these sanctions, they can go as high as 500,000 naira for just one offense. So for somebody submitting a fake passport or a fake utility bill, the bank can be slammed 500,000 naira. I mean, if you ask me, I'm not sure that for a small-time business owner or for an individual, the bank is not going to make 500,000 naira profit on that individual, maybe in the next 5 years. So why would you want to, pay a fine of that amount? Pay a fine of 500,000 for that. So it's important that this due diligence is done by the banks to avoid such sanctions.
Good. Why your customers cannot be nice or welcoming? For those difficult customers that you will call, send mails to, or visit, update your account, reactivate your accounts, KYC, I'm sure some will give you some funny, my money is not missing for now, so why you put this up? I know the account is dormant, leave it dormant. I know it's not updated, leave it the way it is. And these documents, I'm not around, I'll provide it whenever I'm available. How do you manage such customers? Either the response is based that he's busy, or he's just tired of the calls from the bank. How do you guys manage those difficult customers?
Okay, so what we do, we are mandated by law to make that request. Okay, so we make the request multiple times. So it varies across banks. So you can make in writing, because you must have your proof that you actually communicated asking the customer to provide that. So because if there's a litigation, you must have your proof. So some banks would email that customer or visit, as the case may be, depending on the bank. They'll visit, they'll email, they'll make calls. So all those things must be recorded and stashed away somewhere. After a certain period and that customer is not forthcoming, we are allowed by law to freeze the account. So freezing the account means that we will not allow any debit transactions on that account. Debit transactions means we will not allow money to be taken out. So we will not allow withdrawals on that account. What this does is that if now forces that customer, once the customer is unable to make a withdrawal from the account, it forces the customer to come into the bank and update this information so that the account can be released for him or her to enjoy seamless transactions.
And the freeze is across all channels. He can't just go to even if you go to the ATM, he won't access the account.
No, he wouldn't. It's across all channels. It's a complete freeze. So on the phone, on ATM, or even physically, if you visit a branch, you would not be unable to do a transaction.
Thank you very, very much for all this, information. Let's take advantage of having a seasoned banker with us. I want to digress a little. This minimum cash withdrawal limit, of 500,000, it was reduced. It was 100,000 before, and it was recently increased to 500,000. But some people are still complaining that it's still small. What will you say to such customers who are complaining that the 500 weekly limits cash withdrawal via the ATM is still small for them? What do you have to say? Do you think it's small, or you feel, I don't know, what will you say to such customers?
For me, and I'm not speaking on behalf of the Central Bank of Nigeria, I'm speaking as an individual. For me, I would have even preferred that the CBN did not increase it to 500,000. All right? I would have preferred that the CBN left it at 100,000. Reason being that, what exactly would one be using? What would you be needing 500,000 naira for every week, cash? In this day of channels, we have a lot of channels. We have the phone. Everybody, well, maybe not everybody, but at least compared to 10, 15 years ago, most people have smartphones. So you can make use of your phones to transact. You can make use of the ATM channels. And then now we even have the POS agents scattered all over the country. So USSD, there's so many channels through which you can do your transactions. So you really don't need that cash, that amount. Even if you go to the markets, even the local tomato pepper seller, they receive transfers. I went into the market the other day and I was like, I don't have cash. Can you give me your account number to transfer to? And the pepper seller gave me her account number.
Did she receive
the money? Yeah, so I paid into her account. So exactly what would an individual require 500,000 naira cash for in a week? I think that's too much. So I think my advice would be that, this has come to stay. Everybody should, we are going into, advanced economies people don't even carry cash about. All the transactions are done via their cards or online. So we are moving to the 22nd century. So we must align with international best practices and ensure that, we're also on top of our game. So this is an opportunity for the banks, to sell their products, their channel products, so that people can, so what this would do is that it will lead to high channel adoption by people. So everybody should go into the bank, get an ATM card, activate your mobile app, and then transact on USSD, such that we wouldn't need to have cash flying all over the place. We don't need it. We should move away from cash-based transactions to online real time.
I have all the platform, the card, this one, that one. If this one is giving me issue, I move to the other one. So
that is the whole idea.
Thank you very much for making our time to guide us, give us more information about why we receive all these mails. We appreciate you very much for coming, ma'am. Thank you very much.
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, ma'am. Now you know why you receive those mails. KYC is important, account update is important. Once there's a change in any of your information, please go to the bank and update it accordingly to prevent wrong access into your account. Keep your funds safe, keep your account safe, okay?
Hello everyone, my name is Carol Ayembunam. I work in a bank in Nigeria with over 23 years banking experience. I've worked across different banks in the country and across different departments, and I thank God for the experience I have garnered over the years. I'm happy to be here on DEPSAM Info. I encourage everyone, please keep watching and keep listening in. I'm sure that there are one or two things that you always learn on this show. This is DEPSAM Info. Thank you.
Thanks for staying tuned. I appreciate you guys. Bye.